Ni hao, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. It is my pleasure to discuss Electroneum, and of course, I want to discuss Bitcoin. It's very difficult to talk about anything cryptocurrency related without talking about the big Bitcoin, and of course, what we can expect to see in the upcoming few months and the residual years that are to follow. So Satoshi Nakamoto, 18 million of the 21 million Bitcoins have been mined. And the clock is, of course, ticking towards the upcoming supply shock. And it will be interesting to see how the current Bitcoin holders are viewed as a really upcoming wealth class. You have to consider the fact that how many people are really in the world and how many Bitcoin can really be divided among them. There's always that interesting bit of information that talks of course, how many actual wallets contain more than a full Bitcoin. So it is interesting. I mean, while your girlfriend's family might be wealthier than you, in USD, if you still have the opportunity to be a cryptocurrency, holder, and in that sense, it is a valuable asset. So, I mean, when we want to talk about, what do you want to talk about first? I mean, I have so many things that I want to discuss in this video. Electroneum targets crypto-hungry Turkey, which is pretty exciting news. I want to talk about mobile-based cryptocurrency and how it most certainly does give us a window into the future. And of course, in that same sense, really showing how we'll be seeing the global community, not just the unbanked, because people who have bank accounts are going to be going through this shift whatsoever, most definitely. The fact of the matter is we're all simply going to be competing on a global stage in the near future. It just makes logical sense that businesses and the developing world and all around the world essentially will be connected, most definitely, when we want to talk about the future of the internet and how we can expect the internet to make a lot of these different logical progressions forward using the new technologies that are made available. And Electroneum is really the only game in town, I would say, at the current juncture that stands to really be the big name in mobile-based, digital payments and the development of the ecosystem. So, I mean, whether you're a Bitcoin believer, or if you're a person who thinks that Bitcoin's going to go to 5,000 in the short term. I mean, Bitcoin currently really stuck around that $8,000 level, but I really view that as more of a distraction than a piece of valuable information. I try to just not give too much attention to the moment to moment. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the current volatility is our best friend as it currently stands in the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and it really does represent fully and completely probably one of the biggest economic opportunities that exist for average everyday people with a little bit of know-how and the ability to learn for yourself. Sort of one of those entrepreneurial perfect storms, and which is of course why cryptocurrency has been so, and basically getting so many people excited about a lot of these different things. So Electroneum, the startup which enables users to mine its cryptocurrency on their smartphones, is launching new services in Turkey. The inflation-strapped country is currently #1 in crypto adoption worldwide, with 20% of the population claiming to own cryptocurrencies. These are the sort of statistics statistics that I love to pay attention to when I create my vision of how I expect to see the global stage evolving. And I could easily see Turkey riding ahead of the curve and being a major player simply based on the fact that they've allowed themselves to be a hotspot for cryptocurrency, to have a lot of interesting developments. And it's that sort of like Singapore and many other areas of the world that we've seen, which have seen the writing on the wall and essentially been able to use the fact that they don't have as much red tape that currently exists, and essentially in a roundabout way managing to really solidify themselves in an interesting way. It'll be interesting to see how something like that actually plays out in the long term. Now, of course, whether we are going to look at this from a short-term bearish perspective or a bullish perspective, it's always difficult and it's always heartbreaking to pick up any amount of Satoshi because the price is so all over the place. I mean, which is why, of course, there's many people who are the hodl maniacs, and which is, of course, a pretty respectable sort of perspective to take. In that, I mean, if you've got your Bitcoin, you put it away on a hard wallet, and you've basically forgotten about it, well, then you're probably in a more advantageous position than people who are trying to trade and swing trade and essentially have the ability to get, or at least are leaving themselves open to get crapped out, FOMO'd in and tossed around by the day-to-day movements and the current price predicament and all these different things. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you guys at all. I'm not going to sit here and try and talk about the possibility of 100,000 Bitcoin value by 2021 or something like that, whether or not it might as well be possible. I'm more of a person who wants to be able to pick up short-term gains and essentially just build my portfolio and get ready for the inevitable storm when we want to talk about the aspects of these different technologies. And I think that while we see more smartphones being created with cryptocurrency in mind, that's bold-face writing on the wall, which is worthy of getting us excited about a lot of these different aspects and components about a lot of these different things. So Brexit can it still moves not nor does Bitcoin. 85.72% of Bitcoin's mined, only 3 million BTC left to mine. That is relevant to what I was talking about earlier as regards to this whole supply shock sort of thing. And I think that will be interesting to see how the stable coins are going to be playing a pretty big impact on how the average everyday Joe transacts. The overlay of the internet. I mean, we see it happening. I mean, Google Pay, all these other things, which of course already are an early idea of the infrastructure of what's made possible by smartphones. And every single day, technology becomes cheaper, becomes more accessible to people all around the world. And that's essentially our best friend. When we want to talk about Electroneum, when we want to talk about the party that's currently happening, in the crypto space, and it will be interesting to see how retailers, people, corporations, all these different things manage to, basically take their own slice of the pie. And people who are forward-thinking and innovative will always be the ones who, are first up to get the most benefit, while the rest of us, people out there who were cryptocurrency deniers, will just essentially be forced into the same standard of living that they had from the get-go. And of course it will just be a totally different name, but it is interesting nonetheless. So, Electroneum makes a foray into Turkey, product release and updates. Very interesting things, very bullish news. Something I'm very happy to bring and discuss, and we will be discussing it in further videos. I mean, we have made plenty of content about Electroneum in the past. I'm not going to rehash a lot of the previous points I've made, but remember, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Of course, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your dad, but always interested interested to hear what your guys' perspectives are on these things. So make sure that you guys comment down below, letting us know what you think about the short-term prospects, whether or not there's going to be a big sale, whether or not we'll be seeing more adoption, all these different things. But remember, I'm not your dad. Hope you guys have enjoyed this content, hearing my perspectives, and yeah, I'll see you guys next video. Have a good one.